Here continue lecture number 4 according to your unit 4 chemical bonding and molecular structure standard 11. 4.2 topic according to your NCERT textbook, ionic or electrovalent bond. Name itself indicates there is certain ions is present and ions is converted in terms of we can say positive ion and negative ion. So remember this one, electrovalent, that means what? From neutral element, suppose they release electron, that means they just lost electron, it produces positive ion or say cation. And suppose neutral atom or say element, when they gain electron, it possesses negative ions. So this is a very simple funda of this particular ionic or electrovalent bond. So from the Pearson and Lewis treatment of the formation of an ionic bond depend upon, just I explained it, the ease of formation of positive ion and negative ion from neutral atoms. Okay, so this is a very simple way, and the ease of formation of positive and negative ions from neutral atoms. Okay, the arrangement of these positive and negative ions in the solid, that is the lattice of the crystalline compound. Okay, the arrangement of positive and negative ion is a fixed. It is, we can say that somewhat we can say that just like any whatever the arrangement is there, it is a fixed, that is called packing. Okay, and this crystal whatever the arrangement is there, so crystal lattice whatever crystalline compound is there, it is a form according to that arrangement, positive ion and negative ion, that one see later on. Okay, so here suppose we consider here neutral atom M in a gaseous form, when they lost electron, it converted into M plus gaseous form ion, and that's why this is considered as, we have to give here energy, and that is considered as ionization enthalpy. You already here learned in unit 3. In unit 3 you already learned this topic. That means from gaseous atom, neutral gaseous atom, when we release electron, what to convert in terms of M plus in a gaseous form. Okay, whatever energy is required, that is considered as ionization enthalpy or ionization energy. You already learned this one. And here X gas plus electron, that means X in a gaseous form. If this neutral atom containing in a gaseous form, they gain electron, they are converting to X minus gaseous form, electron gain enthalpy. Remember here, in ionization enthalpy is an endothermic reaction, but this electron gain enthalpy may be endothermic or exothermic, but that value may be, we can say that, highly negative. So this is a very important. And now just you see, here electron is cancelled out, and due to that, here formation of Mx gaseous form, that means M plus gas plus X minus gas, it gives Mx solid. Okay, so this is a very simple fundamental requirement. This positive ion and negative ion, okay, they are combined and they convert in terms of Mx solid form. Okay, and this is considered as one compound. Here ionic bonds will be formed more easily between elements with comparatively, remember this condition, low ionization enthalpy. Those elements which contain low ionization enthalpy, they are converted in terms of positive ions very easily, and elements with comparatively high negative value of electron gain enthalpy, that means what? High negative value of electron gain enthalpy. According to this, in halogen compound, it contains chlorine, okay, then it followed by fluorine. So remember this high negative value of electron gain enthalpy. So here low ionization enthalpy of sodium, because sodium releases one electron very easily, and same way we can say that high electronegative value of electron gain enthalpy, and that is nothing but Cl. Okay, Cl1 can gain electron very easily, and due to that, high negative value of electron gain enthalpy. Okay, so here in ionic compound, positive ion derived from metallic elements. Remember, positive ion derived from metallic elements because from outermost orbital they release electron very easily, and that's why loss of electron is converted in terms of positive ions. And negative ion derived from non-metallic elements, and that is nothing but they gain electron, and due to that negative ions are derived. Okay. Here exception is NH4 plus. Just you see nitrogen and hydrogen both are non-metallic. In spite of they just give ammonium ion, and this ammonium ion give different types of ionic compounds, or say ionic compound formation with respect to this cation. This cation reacts bonded with anion with Cl minus, Br minus, I minus, F minus. Okay, and they produces different types of compounds. So here number of ionic compounds, then for this exception case, remember, because this nitrogen and hydrogen they are non-metals. Okay, and they reacts with another Cl minus, and it is also be considered as non-metals. So here NH4 plus ion is there. Okay, so according to that, here positive ion derived from metallic element, negative ion derived from non-metallic element, but exception is this, and made up of two non-metallic elements. If two form of the cation of a number of ionic compounds, then we have to convert in terms of NH4 plus, Br minus, that is ammonium bromide, ammonium chloride, ammonium fluoride, ammonium iodide. That type of compound is formed, and that is nothing but ionic compounds. So this is all about, we can say that, ionic or electrovalent bond. Now in next session, just we switch on towards very important topic, that is the structure of sodium chloride. Okay, NaCl crystalline, and that structure gives certain, we can say that, one cube like structure, and that we just draw attention towards that point. Just to write down this, take a screenshot. Here the crystal structure of NaCl, which is rock salt, is given. Okay, so the crystal structures of NaCl. Why here NaCl is chosen? Just to understand that, because sodium is there, they contain, or say suppose in a sodium we can say that, just we give ionization enthalpy, okay, 495.8, it is converted into Na plus gaseous form plus electron. So here endothermic reaction is occur, Cl gaseous form plus electron, it gives Cl minus gaseous, and here delta Ag at minus 348.7. This is the exothermic, or so we consider exothermic reaction, highly electronegative, electron gain enthalpy, sorry. So here plus 495.8 minus 348.7. If you do total of this, change in ionization enthalpy and change in electron gain enthalpy, its sum is plus 147.1 kilojoule per mole. According to that, energy is absorbed. But you know that when Na plus gaseous form and Cl minus gaseous form, it forms NaCl solid, crystalline NaCl solid. At that time, this lattice formation of NaCl is minus 788 kilojoule per mole. Minus indicate exothermic reaction, and that's why we can say that the energy released in the process is more than the energy absorbed. Okay, so that's why this reaction is considered as exothermic. Thus, a qualitative measure of the stability of an ionic compound is provided by its enthalpy of lattice formation, and not simply by achieving octet of electrons around the ionic species in gaseous state, but in NaCl we have to see here Na plus, which possesses small in size, Cl minus, which is big in size, and we consider here three-dimensional arrangement of cations and anions held together by Coulombic interaction. Remember this, Coulombic interaction energies. This is a very important. Coulombic interaction energies. Okay, and this value in kilojoule per mole. Okay, so here you consider one cube. At a corner, this big size is there. It is a Cl minus, and small size which is arranged here, this is nothing but Na plus. So according to this crystalline structure, three-dimensional structure, it's depend on packing, arrangement as well as size of ions. Okay, so this is a very important point. So you write it completely here, and this is a very important. qualitative, and thus this is a question. Qualitative measure of the stability of an ionic compound is provided by its enthalpy of lattice formation and not simply by achieving octet of electrons around the ionic species in gaseous state. Explain. Then you have to explain this one for 2 marks. It's a very easy question. If you understand this one, just you see, total of this is plus 147.1, and here delta FH, this is the lattice enthalpy formation of NaCl in terms of solid. It is minus 788 kilojoule per mole. So this value is more. Obviously, this value is more, and this value is very less. And that's why we can say that here it's depend on the stability of an ionic compound is provided by its enthalpy of lattice formation and not simply by achieving octet of electrons around the ionic species in a gaseous state. So this is all about, we can say that here we learn different types of here parameters just like lattice enthalpy and here crystal structure of NaCl. Now we move towards this very important topic, lattice enthalpy. So write it completely here, and just you already all these terms maybe you learn in the thermodynamics, so it's a very important. So write it completely. Here 4.2.1 topic is very important, lattice enthalpy. First of all, definition of lattice enthalpy of an ionic solid. The energy required to complete separate one of a solid ionic compound into gaseous constituent ions. That means what? Suppose we consider here sodium chloride solid form. This sodium chloride solid form is converted in terms of Na plus gaseous form and Cl minus gaseous form. Lattice enthalpy of sodium chloride is required plus 788 kilojoule per mole. So here, if we give lattice enthalpy of plus 788 kilojoule to convert or say to isolate or say to different convert in terms of product Na plus gaseous form and Cl minus gaseous form from NaCl solid, lattice enthalpy of NaCl is plus 788 kilojoule per mole. So there is a certain we can say that here bond is also there. They are attracted or say attraction and repulsion also takes place, and due to that you know that Na plus which possesses we can say that small in size and Cl minus which possesses big in size, that you already learned in your unit 3, and that's why here sodium chloride solid, when we give this energy, that is lattice enthalpy 788 kilojoule per mole, it is converted to Na plus gaseous form and Cl minus gaseous form, and that is known as, we can say, lattice enthalpy of ionic solids. So here this process is involved both the attractive forces, okay, between ions of opposite charges that I explained here, Na plus and Cl minus. Na which possesses positive, that's like sub cation, and Cl minus which is known as anion. And according to that, the solid crystal being three-dimensional, that is NaCl structures, just we know in earlier lecture, okay, earlier topic or say earlier bigger session, being three-dimensional, it is not possible to calculate lattice enthalpy directly from the interaction of forces of attraction and repulsion. Only this, okay, attraction and repulsion only. Factors, this is very important, associated with the crystal geometry have to be included. So this is very important. So here the solid crystals, the crystal being three-dimensional, it is not possible to calculate lattice enthalpy directly from the interaction of, we can say that, forces of attraction and repulsion only. Okay, that means Na plus and Cl minus is there, they are attract or they are repulsed, it's not depend on that. Okay, factors associated with the crystal geometry have to be included, and you know that this Na plus and Cl minus, they are actually bounded according to Coulombic interaction forces. Interaction of Coulombic forces, you already learned this one, and due to that they are bounded. Okay, and that's why here NaCl solid, which is converted into Na plus gaseous form and Cl minus gaseous form, whatever the energy is required, okay, to complete separation of this Na plus gaseous form and Cl minus gaseous form at an infinite distance, okay, and that is considered as 788 kilojoule per mole. If this energy is given at a time, we can say that it is absorbed, and that's why here endothermic reaction is occur. It's converted to Na plus gaseous form and Cl minus gaseous form. So this is all about here lattice enthalpy of ionic solids. Now next topic 4.3 is bond parameters, which you already learned in your unit 3, but here it is given in terms of bond length. That is, we can say that bond length or covalent radius, and then it's followed by van der Waals radius. Okay, and what is the difference between van der Waals radius and covalent radius, that is explained later on. Okay, so these are all about here. Very important. If bond length is a shorter at that time, bond length is very short at that time, we can say that it is a attraction is more. Okay, and bond length is a very, we can say that big, that is bond length is more at that time, attraction is very less, and that won't break very easily. That also followed by bond enthalpy, that will learn later on. So just write it, lattice enthalpy of an ionic solid. This is a definition, this is a formation, and this is the condition. Okay, and which factors is affected on this, or how we calculate lattice enthalpy directly from the interaction of forces of attraction and repulsion only. It is not possible, but it is associated with the crystal geometry have to be included. That means they are also included. Okay, so right up to this. 4.3 bond parameters. 4.3.1 bond length. In bond parameters, first topic is bond length, in which we have to learn definition of bond length, covalent radius, and van der Waals radius. So this one you have already learned in unit 3, but once again here in detail. Okay, so please write it completely. Bond length is defined as the equilibrium distance between the nuclei of two bonded atoms in molecules. That means what? Here two, we can say that particular atoms, they are bonded with each other. Okay, so here measured, this is measured by, or say experimentally it is measured by spectroscopic, X-ray diffraction, and electron diffraction techniques that you have to learn later on in a higher standards. That means in colleges you have to learn this type of techniques, which is called spectroscopic methods. Okay, so here you do not bother, just you remember the name: spectroscopic, X-ray diffraction, and electron diffraction techniques. So here equilibrium distance between the two nuclei of bonded, that means what? Suppose consider this is a we consider A atom and this is B atom. Obviously A atom is containing positive charge and this B atom containing negative charge because of, we can say that, atomic size. Okay, so here this atom A, and this is a nucleus center, and this atom B, this is a nucleus center, and if we join this A and B at a time, just to see, this radius is called RA and this radius is called RB. That means A atom of RA distance and B atom of RB distance, if we add, that means what? The bond length in a covalent molecule AB is equal to, suppose consider this is A and this B, then AB is equal to, we can say that this distance is called RA and this distance is called RB. That's why R is equal to RA plus RB. Remember, this is considered as the bond length in a covalent molecule AB. R is equal to RA plus RB. Okay. So here the covalent radius is measured approximately as the radius of an atom's core, which is in contact with the core of an adjacent atom in bonded situation. Remember, bonded situation, this is a very important word. Once again, the covalent radius is measured approximately as the radius of an atom's core which is contact with the core which is in contact with the core of an adjacent. This is written 2 times, so this you cancel it. With the core of an adjacent atom in a bonded situation. This is a very easy sentence. Which is contact with the core of an adjacent atom in a bonded situation. That means this is considered as core. Bonded situation only. Okay. So they join here. So here this and this distance is considered as, we can say, covalent radius. But covalent radius is defined as per, we can say, definition, half of the distance between two similar atoms joined by a covalent bond in the same molecule. Once again, half of the distance between two similar atoms joined by a covalent bond in the same molecule. This is known as covalent radius. So this covalent radius is nothing but, we consider this distance and this distance. This half of a distance is there. They are bonded, okay, to similar atoms joined by a covalent bond in the same molecule. This is known as covalent radius. This definition you already learned, just like atomic radius or say atomic radii, you already learned, okay, and that is here once again same sentence is there, but this is a perfect definition. Half of the distance between two similar atoms joined by a covalent bond in the same molecule. Suppose consider this A molecule and this B molecule, they are same molecule, but they are joined here. So that means what? Suppose we consider this center as O. Okay, so AO plus OB, or say RA plus RB divided by 2 is known as divided by 2. Half of a distance is written. So half of the distance between two similar atoms joined by a covalent bond in the same molecule is known as covalent radius. So here this is all about covalent radius. Now we draw attention towards next, that is very important, van der Waals radius. So in van der Waals radius, bonded is also there, but those are non-bonding. Those are non-bonded electron. That particular part is also considered. So here definition is changed. But what is difference between covalent radius and van der Waals radius? That we see later on. Just to write it completely up to this. Then we carry on this lecture. Okay, and then we write about what is difference between covalent radius and van der Waals radius. Write it completely. Okay, now here van der Waals radius, in which the overall size of the atom which included its valence shell is a non-bonded situation. That means in covalent only bonded party is we have to take part, or say we have to do attention, and only atoms core, okay, that we have to consider. But here we have to consider non-bonded situation, which is defined as, once again, the half of the distance between the similar atoms in separate molecules in a solid. Which similar atoms? Two similar atoms. So once again we define the half of the distance between two similar atoms in separate molecules in a solid. One example is given in your textbook, Cl2. This dichlorine molecule, in which how we differentiate or say separate out covalent and van der Waals radius of Cl2 molecule. Okay, so this is, we consider basic structure, simple structure of chlorine and here chlorine. Okay, this is Cl2 and Cl2. Two molecules are there. So if this two molecule is there, then according to this, we can say that inner circles correspond to the size of the chlorine atom. Okay, this inner circle is the size of the chlorine atom, and this is considered as non-bonding situation. Okay, and according to that, suppose we consider inner circle containing same atom, that means same particular molecule, then this radius is considered as half a distance. So this total distance is 198 picometer, but this covalent radius is 99 picometer, remember. Okay, so this is considered as covalent radius. Now here we can say that here overlapping due to this Cl2 molecule, which is, we can say, separate. This Cl2 molecule and this Cl2 molecule, they are separate, but this chlorine, this molecule containing this chlorine and this molecule containing this chlorine, that center, when we draw one line, okay, at a time this line to this line is considered as van der Waals radius. This half distance is known as van der Waals radius. So that particular distance is 360 picometer, but this van der Waals radius is 180 picometer. So remember that van der Waals radius always we can say that more as compared to covalent radius. So this you already learned in unit 3. Okay, ionic radii, atomic radii. At that time just this explanation is there, but this is we can say that you have to draw attention here according to covalent radius, which is in only Cl2 molecule. You have to write it in Cl2 molecule. Same molecule is there. Okay, in Cl2 that is the same. Which radius takes place? Covalent radius. In Cl2 or say separate Cl2 molecule, in separate Cl2 molecule, this is considered, suppose this is a and this is a B, at a time between two Cl atom, that is Cl2 of this chlorine and this chlorine. Okay, here different. Okay, separate Cl2 molecule. So here same Cl2 molecule, here different. Okay, we have to take in separate molecule in solid form. At that time we can say that van der Waals radius is observed. So this is considered as van der Waals radius. This half a distance, this up to this distance, and then we take this half distance. This half distance is known as van der Waals radius, and in same molecule, this Cl2 molecule, between this distance and this distance, we can say that here half of a distance is known as covalent radius. Okay, so here suppose this bond length is 198 picometer, then we can say that covalent radius is half of this, so 99, because 198 divided by 2 is equal to 99 picometer. And here suppose if this bond length is 360 picometer, then here van der Waals radius is 360 divided by 2, that is nothing but 180 picometer. So just you see 99 and 180. So which one is a more? 180 picometer is more, and that's why we can say that van der Waals radius is more as compared to covalent radius. So remember this one. This is a very important part, and from that part we can say that in your textbook different tabular form is given in terms of average bond length and simple between oxygen and hydrogen, that is between two atoms having a different atoms, and single bond is there, double bond is there, triple bond is there. That bond length is just I give one information. C single bond C is there, then 154 picometer is there. OH is there, maybe 94 picometer is there. C double bond C is there, it is a 134 picometer. C triple bond C is there, then it is a 100 maybe 20 or say 118 picometer, approximately this value is there. So just you do not remember this value, but you remember only C single bond, C double bond, C triple bond, C, and then here different value is also there. So just we draw attention in a textbook. So here maybe question asked just like this way: from the following, which one contain less bond length? So OH is there. Just you see, yes, this is a very important message. Just I speak that one also. That is 96 picometer. 96 picometer. Remember, between oxygen and hydrogen, because of electronegativity of oxygen is more as compared to hydrogen, that's why attraction is more, and that's why we can say that this bond length is become shorter. So 96 picometer is there, and here C single bond H 107 picometer, N single bond O 136 picometer, C single bond O, that is 143 picometer, C single bond N, that is 143 picometer, C double bond O 121 picometer. Do not remember this value, may be given, suppose somebody examples is there, or C triple bond N is there, and that is considered as 116 picometer. C triple bond C is 120. Okay, 180 not, but here in your book it is written 120 picometer. So don't bother. You have to remember this one. And from that, bond lengths in some common molecules also given. H2, that is 74 picometer. F2, that is in H2, HH bond length is there. In F2, F bond length is 144 picometer. In Cl2, that is you already know 199 picometer bond length is there. Okay, bond length, remember, not radius. So don't bother. This bond length is nothing but this distance is considered as bond length. Okay, that is not half. Radius is there, then it is a half. So this bond length is a completely you understood by single bond, double bond, and triple bond. And triple bond and bond length is 109 picometer. Okay, so the different types of covalent radii is also given, and that you already learned in your unit 3, periodicity. Okay, so this is all about, we can say that, bond length, which we related with covalent radius and van der Waals radius. Just you understand this particular term is a very important. This is a Cl2 molecule and this is a Cl2 molecule. If between same molecule, we can say that this distance if we measured, and half a distance is known as covalent radius. But between different Cl2 molecule is there, due to we can say that non-bonding electron pair is present, and that's why overlapping is occurred just like this way, and that's why this bond length is, we can say that, 360 picometer. But this van der Waals radius is 180 picometer. Remember, half of a distance is there. So you just understand from this particular figure and particular you terms. You already learned this term in unit 3, periodicity, but you write it completely at here. Okay, same molecule is there, then covalent radius separates Cl2 molecule and Cl atom of this opposite. Okay, this Cl2 containing this chlorine and this Cl2 containing this chlorine. If we consider this one, it is considered as van der Waals radius. Okay, and van der Waals radius is a 180 picometer, and here we can say that covalent radius is 99 picometer. Write it completely. So your lecture number 4. Just we continue, but lecture number 4 length is just going on because time is running. So we consider next topic in your NCERT textbook, that is 4.3.3 bond angle, later on in lecture number 5. Thank you very much, and just you write it completely from your textbook.